as two bilingual cristianas en Nueva York.
En Nueva York, eso.
Yeah, I don't know why I had York. That's weird.
En español, ¿cierto?
Yeah. No, Nueva York. I mean, York is English. Like the K. Isn't it Nueva York in Spanish? You say Nueva York?
No,
Sí.
pero es Nueva York.
Oh.
Solo que
Yo sé
nuestros
Nueva York.
acentos de la costa cortan las palabras.
Yeah. Well, that's the lesson for today. It's Nueva York. I was right.
Nueva York, como los
But I'm gonna say
puertorriqueños.
Nueva York. York. Un, dos, trois.
Welcome to Estar con nosotras con
I'm not Helen.
Pero lo que dice con
I know.
Welcome to Estar con nosotras
Con
Helen y
Steph. Hey guys.
How are ya?
What's goody? En el mundo lleno de un montón de información, we wish to share our truth with you as two bilingual cristianas en Nueva York.
La mayoría de cosas que hablaremos serán basadas en nuestra experiencia, and we invite you to join us on this journey.
Come true, come true.
En el nombre de Jesús.
Amen. So today we wanted to start this episode with why we started Talk con Nosotras.
Yeah.
And our intentions behind this podcast.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for the first episode, but we were too excited that
I
we
know.
forgot.
Yeah. So we're going to tell you guys now. So a few of the things that we wanted to share is basically like be able to bring the word of God in a smooth, juvenile, like just relatable type of way.
Yeah. And also let the people know that they're not alone in the journey. Like, los entendemos, sabemos cómo es la vida cristiana en este mundo y queremos que se sientan apoyados.
Mm-hmm. Y también predicar nuestro testimonio con ustedes porque this is a safe space. So we just want to be able to, if we have that nudge through the Holy Spirit, to go through with that.
And también we wish to be a positive filter on social media. You know, there's a lot of info. And you say in the intro all the time, el mundo está lleno de mucha información basura. Y nuestra información, aunque pequeña y corta, es importante. Y sabemos que es de mucha ayuda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have to say something.
What?
Porque sé que se van a dar cuenta de que estoy hablando como Fanny.
Oh yeah, she got braces.
It's a pain. Pero, I don't know, I feel a little bit self-conscious about the way that I'm talking now.
Mm-hmm.
Also a little bit at the way that I'm looking. And I'm also feeling a lot of pain, so my mouth está un poquito retraída, retenida. So yeah, you're gonna notice like a difference now.
The good thing, because I had this in high school, so the lisp that you're talking about, it only lasts like a week or two.
See? Okay.
See? So
Okay.
you'll only hear it like in a few episodes. Maybe
not.
Maybe not. But yeah, the pain and the sensitivity and like the way you sound, it's gonna go away within like 2 weeks.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it.
So if you like, let's go back in time. So thinking back to your childhood, how would you describe yourself as a kid?
It's funny because si preguntas en mi escuela, I was like super good, super smart, like I was always good behaved, like siempre me portaba bien. But if you go to my house and you ask, I was always getting in trouble because I was very bossy and then everything had to be like the way that I say it, so it's funny. I don't know, I was kind of smart because I know how to behave in each, environment.
Okay, you were able to code switch.
Yes, that was me. How about you?
Okay, I can see that. I can see that, girl.
So yeah, how about you?
So how was I? I was a quiet kid. Like I was quiet until you got to know me. So I was really shy, but like I was very talkative, which is like I just said I was quiet, but like there was two sides similar to you. In school, like I didn't want to get noticed. Like I didn't want to be center of attention. Like I wanted to be the opposite always. But I was also like I like to make people laugh, but like I also didn't want to get in trouble. Like I was very like I was also a teacher's pet. So like I would yeah, I would be a teacher's pet. Like the teacher needed something, like I would always want to sit next to them. It was weird. But then I grew out of that in high school, and then like I would always actually be, you know how they have like office hours or like times where you can go to them to get tutoring in your school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did that because I would be like scared for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, like authority was like a scary thing for me. Even if they were never like mean or like yelled or like I would just be like,
Wow.
like they're here and I'm here.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that could have been just like growing up like, you know, as
Did that happen with friends too?
kind of. I feel like depending on your personality, like if you had a stronger personality, I didn't want to get you upset because I wouldn't know how to like defend myself properly.
Okay. So they will take advantage of you?
In a way, yeah, because since I was like, I want to change that. I said quiet. I was just soft spoken. So sometimes even now, like sometimes like I have to repeat myself because I might not speak louder. Like, you know, like I just have a soft voice. You guys can't tell because we're using really good mics. So you know how you said like you were two people? My mom was also like that, but like with her personality, and like she was, you know, so nice in front of people, but then she would like, you know, I feel like this is also just our culture. Like they would yell and be loud, and when they would discipline us, it would be like extreme, but like that's just how it was.
So were you like a popular, like the popular guy, or you were like?
It's funny that you asked that. I was actually a nerdy girl for a long time. Like I would just be I would read a lot. So I would just be reading books, and I always had friends, actually. I just got along with people easily, but that didn't really happen until like middle school. Because I was also a really chubby kid. So I got bullied a little bit. So like that affected me. So that's why I was always reading. Because like when you're reading and your face is in a book, nobody really pays attention to you. So anyway, I got into once middle school started, I kind of broke away from that like nerdy crowd or whatever, I guess you could say. And then I got into the popular group. Since I transitioned into like the, I guess, you know, academic quiet crowd into the popular crowd, the reason for that was to seek acceptance. Yeah, that was just something that I always like looked into or like felt like I needed from people. I needed validation from people.
From other people.
Yeah.
I feel like when we're younger, we always like, in certain way, we're trying to find like acceptance from other people, from our friends. Like we want to be part of like the cool kids and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? All of that happened.
I can think of a few reasons, but the main one was probably growing up without a father figure. So yeah, my mom was a single mom, and you know, there's a lot of things that you miss out on with not growing up with guidance from a father, and I mean overall just not having the love of a father, which I do now. His name is Jesus. But yeah, for a very, very long time, and I mean, still to this day, it's still a very sensitive topic. But because of that, it did affect the need, the craving of affection and acceptance, and overall just like intimacy. So I would seek that with friends, because I also had a really small family. So, and like also my mom, like she knew that I was a very social person. Because I grew out of that quiet part, by the way, like once I hit middle school. So I was like, I always wanted to be out there. So that part of me kind of changed. And yeah, I remember she would take me like to like parties and like family parties, but like they weren't my family, but I called them family. And then that stopped in high school. So then that's when I started to like, I want to go out. I want to go out. I want to be around people, like, because I wasn't comfortable being by myself yet. And because I craved that affection, I didn't understand um, a healthy way of a person giving love as a friend, um, versus like a toxic way. And I became very dependent on people. Um, and because of that, like they would take advantage of like me. Like I always wanted to be like to fix things or like be there when someone needed it. Like I was always that person. If you had a problem or even if you just wanted to talk, like you can talk to me at any time. I'll always be there, but it wasn't reciprocated. And I never said anything about it. But I knew I always felt like a void because what I would give to friends, I didn't receive back. And that hurt me, but like I didn't know how to express it.
Yeah, you didn't know. Yeah, I feel you because we kind of share part of your experience. Like I did grew up with a father too,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, that had like consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, so my mom was a little bit too like take care of yourself, like con los hombres, cuidado con los hombres, cuidado, like be careful with men, blah blah blah. And so I started to create walls. So for you, it was like you were like in there with people, back and
Women
forth.
specifically, because men, I was scared.
Yeah, with friends, and for me, I was just putting walls.
Yeah.
So you didn't have like the right boundaries, and I didn't have them either. Like you didn't have them, and mine were like walls, like. And specifically, I cannot even talk with men. I was like very like even with my friends with their fathers, I was like, why is he talking to you like that? Never had a man talking to me like regañarme, like, oh, hiciste esto. It was always a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So for a while,
it sounds different.
Yeah, with a man, it kind of hurts more when they talk loud.
Yeah, it sounds more aggressive.
That's the word. So I was to be like, in my mind, like, how do they let a man talk to them like that? But it was their father, you know, and I was just a kid and I never had that. So whatever. So, but yeah, in conclusion, is boundaries. How do you say boundaries in Spanish?
Boundaries, the lack of boundaries. I have no idea, girl. I'm asking the wrong person.
I'm trying to think. Límites. Ponemos límites. ¿Cierto?
Yeah.
And we have like the wrong one. So we ask our new very best friend, ChatGPT, what a boundary is. And ChatGPT nos dijo que son límites or rules that define how people who should interact within each other. How do we behave in different like situationships, and they help us to establish personal space, respect, and a sense of what is acceptable or not.
Capital A on the acceptable.
Yeah.
So like now we have a good definition. How did boundaries look like for you? Like what was your experience with it over the years? Did you know about it, or like how were you introduced? This is my question.
So yeah, growing up I was good at setting boundaries. So for a while it was like walls and I was like no. And then I started to realize like that's not healthy.
When did you realize that?
I was always very wise. I remember me taking like good decisions and learning by myself. Because if I'm honest, nobody teach us this. Nobody. Like I have to figure out by myself. Because as like I already told you, my mom was like very strict with some things, but she wouldn't say. Sometimes she wouldn't say the why. The why of the thing.
That's super important.
So yeah, so I started like growing and then realized like no, all of men are bad. It's just that my mom didn't know how to tell me.
Right.
She was like take care, but like she could have said like no, all of them are bad. Like there's gonna be good men, you're gonna have good friends. Like right now, growing up, I have a lot of guy friends, like a lot, and they're like my friends until this day, and I still have friends, guy friends, and I have good relationship with men, and sometimes a little bit better than with women for some reason. I'm kind of
we're different there.
For me, I know how to keep a balance with them, and they know like it's
It's a practice. It's a practice. It takes a while to get there, and I feel like I also resonate with like, you know, not being taught those things. And it was through like therapy that I realized like our parents, they're parenting us through their traumas, right? Like they didn't like mental health wasn't really something that they spoke about.
No.
Like it is now, like they do now.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to give my mom that grace, you know, because at a long time I had resented her for it. I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like, you know, you're like, oh, all these problems came from you because you didn't tell me, and like, you know, or maybe you had that yourself and you're passing that on, which is like you shouldn't. You have to grow out of that mindset because you can't put all this fault on the person that's one sacrificed so much for you.
Yeah.
And you know, did so much and loved you through all this pain that they went through themselves. But yeah.
Pero sí tienen un poquitico de culpa.
Well, yes, they do. Thank God for therapy because I don't know how else I was gonna learn these things in college.
Yeah, but you just said it like nobody taught them either. Like
exactly.
If I take a whole episode about talking about my mom's life, it's like I get it where she comes from and what happened and the why. So yeah, like for us, we have to learn by ourselves because our moms, it was not easy for them.
And through experience and through the hard way, a la mala.
Hard way.
Like
a la
that's
mala.
a big one.
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. No. At least in the beginning, when you're not used to it, it does not feel good. For me, at least, more like.
You know what? I know a few people that they kind of start using boundaries, but they never learn how to do it, and they can be rough when they use them. So I had this friend that when she started stand up for herself, she was like kind of rude. And I kind of understand why, because she didn't know how to do it, so it would come out like boom, and I was like, girl, it wasn't that big of a deal, but she made it a big of the deal, and I was like, okay, she's learning, she's trying to, you know, she's trying to run when she has to walk, things like that.
Right.
So that's another thing, like when you don't have it for a really long time, it can be rough at the beginning. So
right.
If you have a friend that you feel like is setting boundaries, just be patient, you know, because it takes, you cannot run when you start walking. Right. So they try to run and they just fall, and it's rough.
Right.
At the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you're stronger in that sense, like, you know, demonstrate it. You can teach them, and hopefully they'll be open to, like, you know, learning, because like you said, it's like a dance. It takes time to perfect. Yeah.
But let's go to the main thing. We are going to help you guys, to give you a few tools about how to set boundaries and how to set them in the right way. Like a few clues or cues or points that you can grab and then think and learn and interiorize, how do you say it in English? Internalize. So, um, when we talk about boundaries, we can use them on everything. We can use it around emotional energy, like the way that we give and receive, about our personal space. Yeah, like personal, like not just touching, but also with the time, how you want to spend it. You can set boundaries.
That's important.
Sexuality, we already know that. Like, I heard so many stories about people because they don't know how to say no when it's about about sexuality, morals, ethics, about our possessions. Not because it's our friend, it has the right to take everything from us without asking or
especially when you live with other people, like having roommates.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah, and also finances. We can set boundaries with finances, even with ourselves, because we sometimes hurt ourselves, like talking about our finances in a really bad way because we don't set boundaries. And last but not least, social media. We can use boundaries on social media.
100%. Yeah. I mean, no, I was just gonna say, like, all those things you listed, like, each of them can be an episode in themselves.
I know, right?
They're very deep. Like,
let's do it.
Let's do it. It's a series. Part 1.
Yeah. So why do we need boundaries, Stephanie?
I mean, it's just, one, it promotes just a healthy lifestyle in general. When you don't have boundaries and you don't like know what your boundaries are, you can be triggered to feel certain ways. You can be, your mental health is basically affected if you never learn how to build them. So it's just, overall well-being, because you can lose yourself. You can never have like a fulfilling friendship, relationship without the boundaries. And a very big person had boundaries, which we're going to talk about in a few. So stay tuned for the rest of this episode.
So let's talk a little bit about how to set boundaries. Like, where do I start? How do I know what is a boundary and where do I set this boundary? Mm-hmm. So what's the first point that we have to keep in mind?
So like I previously mentioned, you have to understand your triggers and get to know yourself. And a lot of times this happens in isolation. Sometimes God has to remove you from the mix, as New Yorkers like to say. He has to, this is a time too where your relationship with him can grow, because he gives you a lot of clues in the word. If you, depending on what you pray for and how you pray, if you ask the Lord to reveal to you, is this person meant to be in my life right now, things like that, he can make really clear to you. See what you like, see what you don't like. It's kind of a balance. And maturing as you get older, especially in your 20s, this is like the perfect time to do it, because we're still figuring things out, careers, friendships, relationships. So this is like the best time to get to know yourself and to get to know what your values are.
Yeah. And also, as a second point, we can say, when your values don't align with the values of other people. Also their behavior. So, for example, this is like a common thing that the people notice, is like the way they treat servers.
A common example of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, when you go to a restaurant and then you have these friends that they can be like rude, and they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna leave this trash here. This is their job. Like, that is not a good behavior at all. So I just noticed something that doesn't align with what I believe, that's when you start setting boundaries. Like, and boundaries about friendships, boundaries about who do I spend my time with.
Right.
So that's an example. Like, I already saw these people do this or talk about in certain way about people. You already know, like, if that doesn't align with you and doesn't make you feel good, that's when you start setting boundaries on your space, your friendship. Who do you spend with your time with?
Yes, that's super important. Definitely. I wanted to say something. And
No, yeah, about this point, like, you can also tell them, it's not like, it's not good, like, okay, this person, I don't like how they do this, because it's not okay. But, like, communicate that too. Like, tell them, like, hey, I thought this wasn't good, like, this is not the way that we treat people, they're just working, blah blah blah. If they don't listen, that's when you start, like, okay, this is like, you start, like, setting limits.
right.
Comienzas a establecer límites entre tú y esa persona.
Right.
Porque ya una vez comunicaste que no te gustaba eso, lo has comunicado y esa persona no cambia y sigue siendo la misma, es una señal de que no, ustedes dos no son compatibles.
Yes, yes. And like, for example, let's say you have a group of friends or friends that that have a habit of gossiping. Like, what do you say if you're in that situation? One thing is, like, I'm not interested in talking about this person when they're not here. That's something you can say, like,
yeah, why don't you say when they are here?
Yeah. And then that literally just it'll just end, because then nobody wants to, like, feel dumb. They're gonna be like, okay. Okay, I guess. Like, so, and then going back to, like, asking God to reveal things to you, like, let's say you have all these, like, inclinations of how a person may not be good for you, or they may have toxic, behaviors. You can ask God to help you with that too. Because I used to be someone who would give a lot of chances, and that never worked. And so God was like, yo, look at what they're doing. Like, how many times I gotta tell you, leave them behind, or, like, just, like, distance yourself.
Yeah.
And so God can also show that to you, through feelings. You feel uncomfortable around them, through events, like something bad happened when you were with them. And it could be, like, instantly too. So, tap into that and bring God into your friendships, because he'll let you know.
I understand that most of the people, they don't want to be alone. They don't want to lose their friends. But let me tell you something. It is worse to spend your time with this type of people. Right. It is worse, like, te estás marchitando tu alma y tu corazón por dentro.
What's that, marchitando?
Marchitarse, cuando sí. Las flores se marchitan, se dañan.
Like wilt? Like wilt is, like, I think that's what it is. Like, it dies and then it shrinks.
Yeah, marchitas. Yeah, so, cuando estás por miedo a estar solo, por miedo a perder a tus amistades, te estás perdiendo a ti mismo. So you're scared of losing them, but you're losing yourself.
Yes. So you're telling yourself you don't matter. And who wants to feel like that? It's not a good feeling. So, like we said, like, this can be uncomfortable, right? This is not easy for a lot of people. So we're going to give you guys some things that you can say when you need to set these boundaries. So, for example, Helen talked about how, your time is personal. It's something that, you shouldn't take for granted, and you shouldn't let other people take it for granted. So what you can say is, I wish I could help, but I'm not available right now to support you.
Or you can say, I cannot commit to that right now. Can we work to find a compromise? Like,
yes.
Can we meet in the middle? Can you wait for me? Can you give me time?
Right. Meeting in the middle. That's good. And let's say someone is coming to you with an issue and like needs your help, sometimes you gotta let friends or, you know, significant others figure it out. You don't want to spoon feed them all the time, because then they're always going to come to you. Oh, hey, I have, like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I say? Like, I trust that you're going to figure this out. Like, I trust. And trust is a big word. So they're going to be like, okay, you're right.
And also,
hopefully,
we can send them to pray. Like, go and ask your Father. Go and ask Jesus.
And that always works.
You know, we can be wise as a friends and give you good advices.
Right.
But there is somewhere like bigger and greater.
That has the perfect advice.
Yeah.
If you're having a quarrel, like a conflict with somebody, and you want to respond, but you shouldn't leave them like on red. You shouldn't not say anything. At least give, you know, a heads up, like, hey, I've read this. I just need some time to think this through and give you a response. But thank you for being vulnerable with me. That's always good to thank them for giving them a piece of, you know, their emotions to you, even if it might have hurt whatever they said.
Yeah. You know which one is like an important one? And when we talk about personal space, I want to include there my body. People think they have the right to talk about your body, and like that's a boundary that you have to set. And I suffer that in Latino families. That's so common. Like, oh, está gordita. Oh, mira cómo tiene la carita, ya está cachetona. No, I have to stop.
That's rude.
You know, I have to stop my mom. I have to tell her, like, I said it carefully. Yeah, it's my mom, but I said it about and I said, like, I love my body. I love myself. I accept myself. So can you please stop commenting on my body, because I know I have mirror.
I have eyes that work.
I have eyes and mirror. So thank you, but no.
See.
So that's a boundary that we are scared to set. Don't even think about it if it's your mom. Like, just do it.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, respectfully. But like, no.
Respectfully, no.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah, you know who else had boundaries? Jesus the Lord had boundaries. I like that time. I like the Bible always says that he used to take time for himself to pray. He would disappear, and then everybody was like, "Where's Jesus? Where's Jesus?" Everybody looking for Jesus. He was spending time by himself, praying, doing his own stuff, right? Guys, we can do the same. You can spend time by yourself, set boundaries.
Yes.
For your benefit, like Jesus did. He was teaching us something there.
Yeah.
Also, he knew how to say no. You remember the story when he was in the desert fasting, and then
oh yeah,
who came?
The devil.
He came and he was like offering him food, offering him the world, and Jesus said no 3 times. He said no because whatever the devil was offering him was, Jesus didn't have share those values. He didn't care about the world and las riquezas del mundo. He didn't care about cualquier cosa que este personaje le estaba ofreciendo. Because he was firm in who he was and who he believed in. So
I like how you said that he was firm.
He was firm in his...
Can't be wobbly.
No. So we're learning from Jesus to how to set boundaries. You can say no when you don't like something, when you have to leave a place. Leave, say no. Go to a safe space, safe place. Because you have the right to put yourself first.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, yes.
He also chose his inner circle. Su. How do you say this?
Circle.
He chose his inner circle very carefully.
Right.
He picked 12, right?
That's it.
And they were
within those 12, he only had like best like not best friends, but like he went to them more. He wasn't buddy with every single one of the 12 too.
Yeah, and each one of them have like a purpose.
Right.
So maybe if you have like different friends, that's okay. Like you can have friends like I do that. I have friends to go to concert, friends to go to church, friends to go to eat, friends that I see like every once in a while, friends to go on road trips. Jesus did the same. Like you can have friends for different. Like if you have this person that you want, like I really want to be this person's best friend. Don't push it because maybe it's not the right thing. Maybe that person is setting boundaries for some reason.
Right.
You know.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah.
So what are some verses that we can use to back this up, right? So we're gonna go to the gospel, guys. Open up to Matthew 12, verses 46 to 49. So here we're talking about the true family of Jesus. And I don't have my phone right now, so can I use yours? Verse 46 starts out with, while Jesus was still talking to the crowd, his mothers and brothers stood outside, wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, your mother and brothers are standing outside wanting to speak to you. He replied to them, who is my mother and who are my brothers? Pointing to his disciples, he said, here are my mother and brothers. What do you think that means?
So, whoever was there when he was preaching or doing his own thing, that was the people he was dedicating that time to at that moment.
Exactly.
So, whatever was happening outside, he was like, I can wait. La parte más importante es el presente y donde estoy ahora. So he set a boundary. He said, like, right now, I'm doing this. This is important right now, and whatever that is can wait.
Yes. Yeah, and he also, the Lord was put on this earth for a reason. And part of that was to spread the gospel. So he was doing that. There was nothing that was going to stop him. That was his Father's plan for him. So.
Also, these religious leaders, they were always trying to push him and then like probarlo y tratando de decir like, who are you? Like, who do you think you are? So Jesus set a boundary and who he is. He didn't try to show the world like, whoever wanted to listen, he would talk to them. But whoever didn't want to listen, like, he didn't push it, like, believe whatever you want. Mm-hmm. We can do the same. Like, you don't have to, how do you say that? Like proof.
Yeah, proof. You
don't have to prove yourself to nobody.
Anyone.
If somebody wants to be your friend, you don't have to force it. They'll come. It come around. You don't have to like, hey, look, I am a good friend. Like, let me show it to you. No. No.
It's by the fruit of the Spirit, babes. What verse was that you were talking about?
Matthew 21, 23 to 27.
But now we're going to switch to Titus 3:10. And it says, if people are causing divisions among you, give a first and a second warning, and after that, have nothing to do with them.
Imagine like you have a friend texting and this friend have this, they leave you in red all the time. Mm. And then you go like, hey, Stephanie, I don't like you to leave me on red. Like, that makes me feel like unheard or whatever. Like, somebody's sharing that with you. But what happens if Stephanie doesn't listen to that? What do you do then?
You can, distance yourself. And then if that person, so obviously you communicate, right? Twice is the max, because after that it's like, give that person time. Give that person time to like make that change. There comes a point where they just might not have the capacity. Like you said, you have certain friends for everything. You're not going to have 4 friends that you can go to and be vulnerable and talk about deep things with. It's just certain people just don't have that within them to like relate to you or to understand. Know your values, right? Express your values. And that person, if through their actions they can show that. But if there's an issue and when you express that issue to them and you give them a chance And the second time after that, that's when you know. It's like a test. They pass the test or they fail the test. And that's the scripture to back that up.
Good. I usually, me personally, I usually don't go to the second strike. You know, I just do one. Like I told you one, and that was it. Because I've gone to the second and the third one, and that never works for me personally. It never worked. But yeah, I'm gonna try to practice more, like even more.
At least two, yeah.
At least two. I'm gonna do it.
Because you never know the first time, like they could have been going through something, or maybe they didn't know how to, and they didn't know how to tell you either. You know, so there could be a million things that could happen the first time around. But you know, just give them one more chance. But after that, like
I'm still learning. I already told you guys that I used to do like walls,
right?
And right now they're just like fences.
So what are some benefits to setting boundaries?
So first one is improve your self-esteem, because when you start giving yourself the place that you deserve, whatever the world gives you is never enough. It's not like I've been practicing that my whole life, and that's like I know how to treat myself. I know how I like. I know, and I also know how to treat people, and I want the same like back.
Reciprocation. Yeah.
So that helps your self-esteem, because you know yourself, you know what you want, and you know what do you deserve.
Right. And then another one could be just like reducing stress, because you know, not having boundaries, especially when it comes to your personal space, your time, that's draining. It drains your energy. And then you don't have enough to give it to your family, your pets, your hobbies. Like there's got to be a balance. So stress is a big one.
Okay, healthier relationships. Yeah,
100%.
So with between us, anytime something happens, we try to communicate like in a respectful way all the time, but we try to be like very open and very clear, because we are kind of new in our friendship. It's like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So whatever happened to me in the past, you don't know whatever happened to you in the past. So we have to communicate.
Right.
Like, hey, I don't like this. Hey, like this is, I don't work like this. I do better like with less people, with more people, or when we make plans, let's do it like this. Like, so when we start communicating, things get better. Like our relationship has been getting healthier and healthier, because we've been communicating what we like or we don't, and we listen to each other. Anytime I say something to her, she listens. Anytime she tells something to me, I try to remember, I try to listen. Or for me, it's easier to learn when people act, the way the people behave. I learn from them. Like, oh, she's like this, she's like that.
Observe, like you observe.
I do. I see. I like that about me, that I see the people. So sometimes with me all the time, you don't have to tell me the things, because I can see and
like,
tell.
I know.
I will know. And something about me is that I push a little bit. I will push to take you a little bit out of your comfort zone. And most of the people like it. And if they don't, they will communicate. I'm like, okay. I will say everything as a joke.
You do that.
But I try to push a little bit, because I know what people can give, you know, and I never do like.
No, nunca es de maldad.
Nunca lo hago de maldad. Siempre es como, like, people potentials, I can see.
Potential.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. One of the, so there's 5, by the way. I don't know if you said that. So the 4th one is increase productivity. And that one's pretty self-explanatory, because, again, you're putting boundaries on your time. And this is actually really good for, like, you know, work, right? Let's say you work 9 to 5, but your boss is giving you something at 5:30 or 5:10. Like, I gotta go make dinner, sis. Like, I'm hungry. You know, like little things like that. Like that's your health, physically, mentally. So, you know, you have more time to do, you know, the things that you have planned. So have a plan and stick to that plan, you know. I'm someone that if I don't have a cow invite, like it's not happening.
Overall, everything is about balance. And that's what we want. Like, we don't know it, but we need it. And guess what?
What?
That was the end.
I really thought you were going to say something.
You were like, what?
What?
You want to add something?
No, I think we hit them all. We hope that you guys received something from today's episode. Boundaries is a work in progress. We don't have it 100% down, but it's a daily practice. So, thank you guys for tuning in today.
Thank you. We're very happy with this second episode.
Yes, we are. If you guys have any prayer requests, please let us know in the comments. Send us a DM. We'd love to pray for you.
Any question you have, like, we're open. Our DMs are open.
Yes.
And
but we have a boundary. Don't be hitting us up at like 12 in the morning or like.
Yeah, no.
We're not gonna open it.
Be respectful.
Yes. So yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. I think that's it. At Talk con Nosotras.
And remember that we don't talk about things that we haven't experienced.
No tenemos verdad absoluta. It's okay to disagree with us.
Y que Dios los bendiga.
Bye.
So what are we doing for our third episode?
I think we're going to talk about our testimonies.
Yeah, do you want to know a little bit more about us?
How we came to Jesus and just all that good stuff.
So stay tuned for the third episode.
Bye.
Bye.